First and foremost, we're going to have with us Dr. Nikki Guninder Kaur Singh, who is the chairman of the Department of Religious Studies at Colby College. Let me give you a little bit of background on her. She was born in India, and she came and spent early formative years in the US. She went to high school here, and then she got a master's from University of Pennsylvania and a PhD from Temple University. And the list of awards that she has won is too numerous for me to go into. Embarrassingly large and absolutely a delight. Including, of course, she was nominated and won the Outstanding Young Women of America Award, and also the Senior Fellow at Harvard University Award. In addition to her contributions to mainstream American society, she also has won several Sikh Scholar Awards, including awards from California, Canada, and India. She's published extensively, and some of her books, which I'm sure all of us have read, include Sikhism and Introduction. She's also written on the birth of the Khalsa and Sikhism, which has been translated into several languages. So without further ado, I would welcome her to come up and share her views with us. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
This is the first moment that I'm with my community after that tragic shooting, and I just want to express my deep condolences to the community at Oak Creek, and I also want to congratulate, I just feel so proud of the way the Sikh community reacted to that horrific killings. It is our faith, it is our courage that we can overcome such things and we can empower ourselves. So my deep condolences. Number two, my very deep thanks, gratitude for the organizers to have this very important venue, Prakash, Utsav, and to invite people like me, and the hospitality that I have received from Guninder Kaur Singh, Pushpinder, Gurinder Kaur Singh, who drove me, is just phenomenal. I'm very, very grateful to the organizers. And I want us to say that we celebrate today. This is really a celebration, and with that momentum, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My talk today is Physics and Metaphysics of the Guru Granth Sahib. The Sikh religion is lodged in Gurbani, which continues to bring about new potentialities and possibilities. More than 25 million men and women around the world rely on its existential power. It is a center of private and public life. It is the core of our religious and moral values. It is a sovereign presiding at all our ceremonies and celebrations. Unlike Plato, who found poetry too captivating and therefore banished the poets from his republic, the Sikh gurus utilize the poetic medium to awaken their followers with an appreciation and love for the infinite divine. What is awesome is, and this is something I've been feeling since I was an undergraduate. I came to Wellesley as an undergrad. You know, I was about 18, 19 years old, and I would read Gurbani, and I was taking all these courses in philosophy and religion, and it shocked me. How is Gurbani, Durgi Bani, coming from beyond, and yet it is so beautiful, it is so powerful, it's so artistic, and that fusion, that kind of world, you know, that kind of point, the juncture where something so metaphysical, so powerful, transcendent, is coming in such beautiful artistic methods, such alliteration, assonance, consonance. What's going on? So it's that hub. How is that spontaneous Gurbani so perfect in its alliteration, rhyme, meter? So this paper seeks to analyze that wondrous hub where the physical beauty of the scriptural verse fuses with its metaphysical substance. I want to make a few points. Number one, it comes from the divine source. Gurbani is traced to the divine one, consequently it functions as both the medium and the source of revelation. Guru Nanak proclaims, the founder of the Sikh faith, Jaisi mein aave qasam ki bani, vaisada kari gyan mein lalo. So this is not something that is being taught or kind of, you know, we write something, how many times we write a little paragraph and then we have to go back and correct and so forth. No, No, this is coming immediately, it's coming spontaneously. It is the divine revelation, and yet it is so beautiful. Nanak kahe kahave soe. Nanak speaks just as the ones makes me speak. Kahe kahave soe. Kahave kaun kahavan wala hai? Oh hai. And that's how the words are coming out. For the second Guru too, this Guru says the texture of transcendent light is the oral. Jot vich tu bole. And dekho, you know, it's kind of very interesting. Jot vich, that's very visual. Jot, light. Vich tu bole. So the bole, the speech, is being uttered through that light, through that transcendent light. So there are lots of these very interesting paradoxes throughout. The Gurus repeatedly admit that they have no control over their orality. They utter what comes to them. Guru Ramdas says, Satgur ki bani sat. Satgur ki bani sat. Sat kar jano. Know it as truth. Gur sikho har karta aap bokdai. So it comes out automatically. Truth is the word of the Guru. Know it as a truth. O Sikhs, for the Creator itself slips out the truth from lips. That's how it comes out. Slips out. In the same way, the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan, who put the sacred verse together, says, Nanak bole bulaya tera. Nanak speaks bulaya tera. What you make him say. And yet again, how aap bol na janda, main kya sab hukamao jiyo. I do not know how to speak, I only say as you come out. So the equivalence between the utterance and the Guru is consistently affirmed through the Guru Granth Sahib. Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani. Which Bani Amrit Sare. So the poetic communication and the divine revelation are identical. And paradoxically, this spontaneous speech ends up being most artistic. The words come in a gusty speed and form into lovely artistic designs, innovative similes, mesmerizing paradoxes, and brilliant metaphors. So my very first book, which I wrote as an undergraduate thesis when I was a senior in college at Wellesley, was called The Physics and Metaphysics of the Guru Granth Sahib. So for today's venue, I chose that topic because that's what I thought, good, 25, 30 years ago, and it's still at the back of my mind. How is this poetry so powerful? And we can pick up any verse, Gagan mein thar raf Chardi bane, that evening hymn Aarti. How beautiful it is. It's kind of looking at the skies as a platter, thal, rich, and that's where the lamps lie. That's where the moon and the sun and the twinkling stars are there, and the breeze comes. This is just, and everybody is welcome to do it. There is no difference. This is somebody's Jewish or Muslim or Christian or Hindu or Sikh. Everybody can participate in this worship because it belongs to the cosmos. It's a cosmic worship. Aarti hoye, kaisi aarti hoye, bhakti teri aarti. It's just, the verses itself are mesmerizing. And we can just pick up any verse in the Guru Granth Sahib. It is just so poetic. Right now we were having in the langar we were having our tea, and in the background was playing this beautiful Shabad Kirtan. And it just does something. What's it doing? And we have to keep in mind, this guy who went to shooting people in Wisconsin, he heard music too. How did they get people, recruited people in that white supremacist band where they excluded everybody through their hate music? Ours is just the opposite. Ours is full of love. And that's why it's really important that we promote Bani at every stage, at every level, because the world doesn't know what beautiful power it has. So in a way, sometimes when I say poetry, people get very upset with me. And I don't want to demean it in any which way. This is Gurbani, Gurki Bani. I think it's revelation, no doubt. But to make it approachable for others, and we have to say how it's different. And poetry, in the Western sense, the word itself doesn't sound right because Plato and others were kind of, found it pejorative. But this is coming through deep consciousness. This is not just ordinary poetry. So we have to make the distinction, and to use the term may not be that wrong. That's all I want to say. But we can be looking at any verse. Ape Rasiya, Ape Ras, Ape Ravanhar. This is how the divine is considered. The beauty of poetry, the divine is Rasiya. Ape Ras, Ape Rasiya, Ape Ravanhar. That's the one who enjoys the beauty as well. One of my favorite verses, Guru Nanak's verse, Kar kar karta kangan pehre in vid chit tere. Kar kar karta. Kar kar. Look at the alliteration of the case. Kar kar karta. And here we come. By wearing the bracelet created by the creative consciousness is held steadily. The bracelet, kangan, is a symbol of dynamic action. And the word action, kar, recurs constantly in this line. Her bracelet is made kar by the creator, karta, and worn around her hand, kar. So kar kar karta. So what I'm saying is the transcendent soil of Gurbani gives new meaning to materials in this universe, because it's coming from the divine revelation, not fragmented by man-made walls of religion, gender, race, or class. It pours out of the divine matrix through their deepest selves. The Guru's orality revitalizes the senses, the psyche, the imagination, and the spirit. Having made this point, I want to make 3 more points. So here we have the fusion of the two. What is its impact? And the impact is threefold. The first one is it creates a spontaneous community. The Guru's divine experiencing, transpiring without conceptual constructs, ends up reproducing an ineffable togetherness amongst readers, hearers, something that the anthropologist Victor Turner categorized as spontaneous communitas. When Guru Nanak settled by the banks of the river Ravi in Kartarpur, men and women from different religious and societal backgrounds gathered together to hear and recite his sonorous rhyme. So when we think, I mean here, this was a very important point I think Guninder Kaur Singh made here. We are today in the USA. We are in San Jose. Where did we start? We started by the banks of the river Ravi. That's where the first Sikh community was established by Guru Nanak. How did it come together? Remember by Gurdas saying that Guru Nanak carried a little pothi under his arm, and what was the schedule there? In the morning was recited Jap, and in the evening was Arti and Sohila. So that pattern has remained constant for us, whether we are sitting here in San Jose or earlier on. So what I'm saying is that through Gurbani, through the Guru's verse, we are linked. We are linked with our past, we are linked with our future as well. So it's very significant for our identity. So Gurbani, which is kind of a paradox because it's so universal, it's open to everybody. And I think that's the beauty of the Guru Granth Sahib, that it contains the poetry not only of the Sikh Gurus, but very consciously that of the Muslims. Baba Farid is there just as the saint, Hindu saint Ramdev is there. So this is the power, this is how modern, how liberal, how broad-minded the Gurus were. And it's not that they're just putting things together to make it something syncretic, but really to see difference. There are differences. And yet you respect difference and distinctions, and you incorporate, because this is our new world. So what is being proclaimed today in the West, our Gurus actually put it in practice, concretized it in the Guru Granth Sahib itself. So we have a great heritage behind us, and that's what connects us. So my first point is, what is the fusion? What does it do? Fixed identities and distinctions dissolve as men and women sit on the floor together to hear, recite, and sing the Guru's words. In doing so, they join contemporary Sikhs with those sitting amidst Guru Nanak in Kartarpur. They join a congregation in rural Punjab with those in the diaspora, be it Africa, UK, or here in San Jose. Through Gurbani, Sikh subjectivity came into being, and through Gurbani, Sikh subjectivity is sustained. Point number 2, this fusion of the physics and metaphysics. It is a terrific epistemological resource. I know I'm using a big word, but it basically means 3 things, to simplify it. One is the celebration of the divine one. Where does it all begin? Ik Onkar, one being is. This is a celebration. Guru Nanak didn't ask questions. He didn't look into philosophical arguments, is it ontological, epistemological, moral, teleological, any of those questions. This is it. This is what he felt. This is the Bani that is coming through him. He had that vision, he had that experience, he had that feeling, that was that intense experience. And that's what he uttered. So it is a celebration. He's putting through the Bani, we are put in touch with what he felt and experienced. So that's the first point. What is Bani doing? What is this artistic and metaphysical fusion doing? It is celebrating that one which is all space, all time, beyond gender, beyond cause. It cannot be made into any image, no idol, no nothing. And it is not this monotheistic notion of one God either. This is something we often make a mistake. And I have to tell my community that, where I feel one God. That's not the correct translation. Because that's coming from a very monotheistic, we are just emulating the Hebraic, the Abrahamic word. And that word excludes people. Here, everything is inclusive. Nothing cannot be divine. Everything is a part of that one. So, my translations that I've been doing on Gurbani, I really try to bring that point. Please don't misunderstand me, because I really think the Guru said something very radical, very innovative. They are really something, and we need to bring their message, that unique, distinct message, out to the world. So we cannot just follow other examples. Hey, God, let's just put the word God. It isn't, it's something else. This is a beautiful word, God is a very beautiful word, but it belongs to another religion, another culture, another tradition. Ours is ik onkar, one being, one divine. It's here and there, so it's not, it doesn't exclude anybody. That's what my point is. It's an all-inclusive one. So, celebration, number two, it's understanding that one. So that's why that one has to be understood on its own terms. It's taking both from the Abrahamic world as well as from the Hindu world, because it's neither this nor that, it's everything. Some call it Ram, some call it Khuda. Some worship it as Vishnu, some as Allah, declared Guru Arjan himself. Even the Buddhist Nirvana is not omitted from their hermeneutics. Eko Rabriya Nirbani. Nirvana there's no God in Buddhism. But for the Gurus, even that's part of that one. The one pervades Nirvana. Eko Rabriya Nirbani. So in the Guru's ontological understanding, there is no opposition between the one and the many, nor is there any dualism between unity and plurality. Ekas dekh rahe ho anant nanak, ekas mein samay jiyo. From that one comes, issue the myriads, and into that one it ultimately assimilated. And so trying to understand that one. Truth, ik onkar, Satnam. Truth is its name. Truth again can be very abstract. But this truth can be approached as father, mother, tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandham, tu mera bhrata. So it can be approached in many different ways. So you don't want the truth to be just sitting as a concept, as a rational, objective identity over there, but you want to make it a part of yourself. So that's why those familial affinities. You are my father, you are my mother, you are my brother, you are my friend. There are lots of this plurality of images that flows in the Gurbani. Plurality. But we've just made it into a he and father. It's mother too. This very pervasive mother. For those of you who have known my books, I've been looking at the feminine aspect of Guru Granth Sahib, which again, what Jewish and Christian scholars, very modern ones, are saying, it's already there in our own scripture. So I feel very blessed, I feel very proud what my heritage has, what my Gurbani says, and we just need to put on a few new lenses to see its power and its newness and its excitement. The third aspect from this epistemology is that this celebration be applied, lived. Ikokar Satnam. Sundaratan, give Satyara ho ye, give Kure Tute Pa. So it's not just left in that abstract mode. Give Satyara ho ye, how to become truth, how to live truth. That's more important. And that's why we always remember, in the collective memory of the Sikhs, what do we remember? Guru Nanak Dev Ji having his revelation and coming out and saying, there is no Hindu, there is no Muslim. Why? Because what he saw was the humanity. So we get sometimes too caught up in these categories, boundaries, And some people say there was no such thing as Hindu, Muslim. These are all kind of the colonial creations or categories, and so we can go into all these kind of discussions, but the gurus themselves had that notion. So what was important was how to live truly. So that's why no caste, no class. So when we look at these ethical, moral responsibilities that the Gurbani contains, there are many, many of them, and all are coming from this knowledge of the One which is given in that format. So that was my point number 2, that it becomes a very important resource for us. Amrit Bani, Tattva Vakhani, Gyan which aayi. So Amrit Bani, what does it do? Tattva Vakhani, it shows us the very essence, it reveals the very essence to us. Gyan, through knowledge, Dhyan, through contemplation, which aayi, came through knowledge and contemplation. And that shows us what? The essence, the reality of things, the truth of things. So that truth, Ikonkar Satnam, the name, the truth, comes to us, becomes applicable in our daily modes of existence through Bani. So in a way, my third point is that Bani really is our sustenance. We literally take it in ourselves. We have our langars, but we have our Bani. And as we know, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who compiled the Guru Granth Sahib, put it together in such a beautiful manner, perfect manner. What is the seal to it? What is the mudavni? Thal vich tin vastu deho, satsang to vichar. So what is the Guru Granth Sahib? Thal. Just as we read the Aarti, Gagan mein thal, Ravchal Deepak bane, this is also a thal. But what is this thal, this plate have? Dish, thal vich tin vastu deho. Sat. पहली गल हैगी है सत, truth, that essence, santokh, and then it's not just left there, vichar, to reflect. So जब आप गुरबानी पढ़ते हैं, सुनते हैं, करते हैं, it's not just to be repeated like parrots. The gurus were very much against that. To think. And they chose this word very, very consciously. So this is it can't be left at some cerebral level. It has to be digested, partaken. It has to be taken into the body. Food is good. Saas grass. We should remember the divine with every little morsel. There's not a food imagery in the Guru Granth Sahib. So this Guru Granth Sahib has these very important dishes, 3 important dishes lying there. All epistemological, Sat, Santokh, Vichar, and they should not just be eaten. Jeko khave, that's not enough. Quickly, fatapat khake. Jeko and share. Savoring is important. Savor. And that's why I think the Bani, the artistic Bani, why that beauty of the Bani? Why is that divine, the Rasya? So it has to be relished, it has to be savored. It's really a beautiful gift that we have. So this is supposed to be taken in and made a part of us. And that's why in our daily life, so this was my point, that it is our daily sustenance, and it gives us that nourishment. And throughout the day, whether we read the Japji Sahib in the morning, or we do the Rehra Sahib in the evening, or the Kirtan Sola, or even the shlok to the Japji Sahib, which is Guru Angad's Bani, Pavan Guru Bani Pita. All these, we remember many of the Gurus throughout the hymns, Jap Sahib from Guru Gobind Singh. There's so much. So the Gurus, what did they give us? They gave us this food. They gave us this very nurturing, nourishing knowledge, consciousness, awareness, and we are to partake of it every day, make it a part of it. And they offered it because other things, rules and regulations don't work. We know that. Just think of all the rules, oh, we have to do. But this is why this poetry, why this sustenance. So we change ourselves from the inner side. Everything is these become our reflexes, how we act, how we interact with one another. So it becomes a part of you. So what I'm trying to say is that this Bani is so artistic and so metaphysical. It's given in this way, so it will reach us deep, deep, deep inside us. So our actions, our external actions, and they are kind of immediate reflexes of what we feel. So this is our Bani. It has to be partaken, it has to be savored, so that we become good citizens of this world. The whole approach of the Gurus was this world. Other worlds after heaven and so forth. Ours is very much where we recite the verses of the Gurus. That's our paradise. So paradise is not somewhere afterwards. They told us to be good citizens here, moral, good human beings in this world. So that is our heritage. I'm really glad we are celebrating it. And I would ultimately say that this fusion creates a spiritual spark. Every passage in the Guru Granth Sahib fuses the physical and metaphysical elements, which have profound practical effect, pulsating with a spiritual passion. The rhythmic beats move readers into a deeper intensity and communion with something much larger, the infinite, metaphysical, divine. So, Tera Pahna Meetha Lage. That's what resonates with us at every moment, in times of tragedy, in times of celebration.
I remember one line from my childhood. My father used to explain to us what Bani is. Gur ki Bani, Tur ki Bani. We never understood why they wake up in the morning to part. What is it about? What is it what you get from it? What is that peace of mind? And I remember one line that he tried to explain to us with. It was Kita Pasao Ekukubao. And just the brief explanation of that line, even today, it makes me so emotional. Just thinking about the way the divine has made this world. Oh rachna hai jehdi sansar di, jehde panch tat, जिस मिक़दार विच उसने रचे ने सानू दिते ने. And you know, I really get, it's very emotional and touching for me whenever I talk about it, because if you feel the way he has artistically created this world, as you just mentioned, it's all about feeling it, digesting it, absorbing it. That's very true. I would say that is the only sar of Gurbani. I'm a very small person to speak on it, but yes, I get the drift, and it's an honor to be in this gathering today, where we have somebody like you who can touch those lines of Gurbani and bring the true meaning of that Bani to us. And I do not exactly remember, that was in Punjabi, कि Guru Sahib ने संसार नू ऐदा रचिया है, ओ जेड़े पंज तत्व ने, इस मिक़दार विच उसने सानू दिते ने, हवा, पानी, all 5 elements, कि उसनू असी जिद्दां मर्जी संभालिए, or this earth, I mean, no matter how much we pollute it, I mean, the amount, the miqdad of those panch tattv, it's ek baar rache ne. It was kita pasao eko kabao. That's the meaning. I mean, ekko wari jusne ho jehdi rachna rachi hai, it's just immense. I mean, we have to feel the power of it. We have to feel it and we have to honor it. That's the main element. I mean, all I would say to my children, I do not know what the underlying meaning or the way you have explained it, I would not know it. No, but then we have to honor it.
I think you're right, Benji, and I agree with you that it has been a really good discourse.
Yes.
And I really want to thank you. That's exactly what we want from Gurbani.
We would like to have more of such discussions. Our children they barely know what Bani is, what Japji Sahib is. It's like the Sahib.
May I recommend then, Benji, may I recommend that this is exactly the forum for having the children come and attend, and I'll take that as a signal to move on and make sure that we cover some of the rest of the topics. So thank you for sharing your views. Are there any other questions or comments, Benji? And what I would recommend, since we are running a little bit behind, is to phrase your question in 1 or 2 lines. I think a lot of us are moved by the essence of the talks, and Penji did just an outstanding job, of course, and you can talk to her later. But given the shortage of time and because we're running behind, may I just suggest a 1-line question so that Penji can share her views. Thank you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I just had a question, Penji. Tusi Mandamni ma labbanwa to dokle sikhi thal vich tin vastu payo sat santokh vicharo. Puchna chahna ki wo 3 vastu hain ya ek vastu hamare raaste?
That's very, very nice, very interesting. Ultimately, it is one, but you know they have. Guruji did put it as 3. Then vastu payo sat. Sat kis cheez hai? The knowledge of one. Santokh, by knowing that, how do we feel, and then reflection. So knowing, I think it comes as knowing, sat, santokh, kind of experiencing it and reflecting. So in a way, it is opening it up to others, that we come together and reflect. So we can, you know, it's you and me, this is what the Guru's word, and how do we interpret it, how do we see it?
Because if we read on, then it says, Vistri Mastu Payo Sat Santokh Vicharo, Amrit Naam Thakur Ka Payo, Jiska Sabzodaro, Jeko Khava, Jeko Panchayat Iska. A vast.
But Ji nahi.
So vast is singular, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think like Maharaj कहते हैं कि थाल विच की वस्तु पाई है अमृत नाम। तो उन्होंने कितना लेना कि सात संतोख विचार के उन्होंने कटना। मतलब सात संतोख विचार के मिलना कि वस्तु नाम अमृत नाम।
बिल्कुल। That's why मैं कह रही एक को सपना सप पर सत्य नु ਆਪਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਤਿ ਨੂੰ we can know ਸਤਿ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ digest ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ contentment ਸੰਤੋਖ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ so it's not just left to the son to the only individual ਪਰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਦੂਜੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਆਪਣਾ moral formula ਹੈਗਾ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ you know ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ ਵੰਡ ਛਕਣਾ ਤੇ ਕਿਰਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ ਵੰਡ ਛਕਣਾ so I think it kind of brings that to mind too. But naam ta ikko hai, of course, you're absolutely. Vastu ta ikko hi hai. But unko si kis level te ki karna? Jab panch apne aamde ne Japji Sahib de 5 spheres. Gyan, taram, gyan, saram, karam, sach. Ultimately ta sach hi hai. Naam ik hai. Bilkul thodi gal theek hai. Bilkul theek hai. Lekin usme si kis level te? How do we kind of take it to what levels? Knowledge, truth, santokh. ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ you don't run around like a yo-yos that we often do in this world and then we reflect. Reflection calls for being with the community. ਇਕੱਲੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ forest ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ that was not Guruji's intention. It was ਆਓ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਓ come here in the world so ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰੀਏ so those are Bani is profound. See, that's the thing, we can keep doing researching it and thinking about it for centuries more to come and we will never have the answers. But I admire you for bringing the two comments that I have are admirable. I'm very grateful to both of you.
We will probably need just one more question.
I understand the concept of Tarvani. My question is, since your topic was physics and metaphysics, what was the mechanism God used to talk to Guru Nanak Sahib? Obviously, God can speak any language it wants to. Maybe he spoke Punjabi, but I doubt it. I think he communicated through some abstractions that Guru Nanak himself then translated into our understandable language.
That's another very beautiful question. Turki Bani, this is coming from the beyond, and it came, and that's what your question leads to is that there is that what the Gurus did was quite remarkable. What were the sacred languages of their period? There was Sanskrit and there was Arabic, Persian. What did the Gurus opt for? Latvia. Because this is something that's coming out naturally, automatically, reflexively. And so the language, I would say, is the Guru is just the medium. That's why it says it slips from the lips. The speaker is the divine one. And whatever that speaker may be. That's why you have Baba Farid there, and then you have Namdev there, and the Sikh Gurus there. It really doesn't matter because it's coming from the divine source. And that's what's remarkable, that the Guru Granth Sahib includes the various and gives equal status and respects them, and at times has debate with them where things are not, this is this, you know, gurus say, present their own views. So that's real dialogue. It's not putting down people, it's kind of communicating with people. So we familiarize ourselves with difference and diversity and not be like that Wade going with guns, oh, so and so is this. So we accept, we become familiar with difference. That from day one, if we see, oh yeah, Namdev is there and Sufism, Baba Farid is there, we don't see them as otherworldly. These are a part of our world. This is a part of our heritage. So we respect others, and I think that's really the genius of our gurus and of the Gurbani that we have. Thank you. I think I've spoken.